Good morning, beautiful people. Thank you guys for waiting. I was having a little bit of connectivity issues, but I think they are all sorted out now. If you guys can hear me, can you go ahead and drop I can hear you in the chat cuz I hate to be going and talking and nobody can hear me. That's like super weird and annoying. So drop that in the chat if you can hear me. Proof 54. Yes, no, maybe so. I know it's somebody in here, even if you in the bushes. I know y'all are in here. So go ahead and drop. Thank you, Miss Miss Lady Diva. I appreciate it. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull over real quick, like 2 seconds style, because I was driving. So let me go ahead and pull over, um, so I can get into this conversation with you, ladies. So let's talk about my thoughts now before I get into my hi Verena, good morning. Good morning, T. Good morning, good morning. Before I get into my thoughts, of course I'm gonna give the standard disclaimer. No, I am not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. However, as I mentioned in my community post, I have a lot of family in the legal field, in all aspects of the legal field: detectives, lawyers, contracts, attorneys, judges. My family and friends, like, I have a very well connected circle. So I'm not a lawyer though. I'm gonna go ahead and say that again. I am not a lawyer, and these are just my opinions. Okay. So, oh, the chat is really delayed. I'm not sure why. I'm not on Wi-Fi, but I have pretty good reception. If you guys can hear me, then uh, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not horrible. Okay, so let's get into it. Um, I guess we'll start, like, what exactly is a verbal contract, right? Because there's a lot of back and forth on the internet about, like, is it a contract? Is for a contract to be enforceable, that contract needs to have three key elements. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. I'm in and out. That is so annoying. Can you guys hear me? I was just going and going, and it's like super in and out. I have all my bars of service, so I'm kind of surprised that it's in and out. I don't know if it's StreamYard or what. You know what? I'm gonna go. I was gonna do it on YouTube Live. Maybe I'll have better luck. And it's hard for me to even ask guys, is it better now, because you're saying it's going in and out. Now it's such a delay. I don't even know if Verena's saying she can hear me or she can't hear me. Should I start over? We can hear you now when you said you're annoyed, but nothing before that. Okay. So let me I'm just gonna start over. I hate when this happens because people will come in and be like, what just happened? But I'm gonna start over. So if since it seems like you guys can hear me now, I'll start from here. So there's three elements of a contract, right? Whether it's a verbal contract or a written contract, they all have to have three elements. Those elements are offer, acceptance, and consideration. And within those elements of the contract, there are certain parameters that need to be met in order for that contract, whether verbal or legal, to be enforceable. Number one, there needs to be an offer, which means okay, who are the part? There needs to be an identification of the parties in a contract. So, who is this contract between me, you, and who? Like who talking here? Number two, it needs to be what are we exchanging? What am I giving you? What are you giving me? An exchange of goods and services needs to be clearly identified in that contract, and it needs to be articulated, whether it's written or verbal. It has to be stated. Number three, it has to have it cannot exist in perpetuity, which means whatever it is that you are asking me to do, it cannot exceed a period of 1 year. If it does exceed in a period of 1 year, then it has to be a written contract because oral agreements cannot exist in perpetuity. Like you can't tell somebody you got to do this for me and it needs to stay that way forever. It cannot that it needs to be a written agreement. So if it's an oral agreement, it needs to be very quick. Like, hey, I asked you to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and you got, I don't know, 30 days to do it. And I'm going to give you X amount of money. That's the fourth element, which is price. How much am I paying you? How much are you paying me? And what are we exchanging? And then all contracts have elements of performance, right? So like when we talk about the whole idea of substantial performance, meaning we have a contract that we have both agreed to. Yes, there are instances where one party might not meet all the terms and conditions of that contract. However, did this person substantially perform under that contract? Well, in order to meet the burden of substantial performance, then the element of the contract that was not performed upon cannot result in monetary loss for the other party, or else it cannot be deemed substantial performance. Meaning, if we enter into a contract and it says, okay, well, we have an agreement for you to let's just say replace my roof, right? The agreement is for you to replace the roof on my building. If you go ahead and you replace the roof, and however you forget to put down tarp, right? You put the roof up, but you never put the tarp down, and therefore now my roof is completely leaking because you omitted doing a substantial part of that contract, or you did a contract for me, but you didn't get a permit when you did my roof, right? You did the roof, but you never secured a permit. And now I can't get a certificate of occupancy, or now I'm being fined and sanctioned by the town because you failed to meet the burdens of that contract as it was identified. You would be the person who was supposed to do it is held liable for that, and that person who has the damages, the fines they had to pay, the fact that they got to get a new roof done because you didn't put the tarp down, all of that is punitive, and all of that is eligible for damages. Substantial performance means you did everything you were supposed to do besides maybe one small part, and that small part that you did not do resulted in zero loss for the offended party. It resulted in zero loss. That is how you can say it was substantial performance. But if you left out a critical part of that contract that you did not perform, your substantial performance is 100% void. So let's talk about that real quick, brief. The next element of a contract is acceptance, right? Meaning I gave you this contract, we have this verbal agreement, and you say, okay, well, cool, I'm gonna do it. Like, and it doesn't need to be, yes, I 100% consider, but all right, cool. I don't really like everything, but I'm gonna do it. It can be even brief like that. Once you agree to something, you agree to it. So cool. That's the easy part, acceptance. The third part, which is the most important part, is consideration. That is the most important part of the contract, right? Consideration means both parties must benefit from the performance of that contract in some way. Otherwise, it's not a contract, it's a gift. So what does that mean? If I say I want you to remove all the videos on your channel, right? I want you to take all the videos off your channel for me, for my benefit. Like I want you to take all your videos down. If the person says, okay, cool, I'll take my videos down, but then that person fails to take their videos down, I'm not sure that contract could be enforceable for a few reasons. Number one, how do I benefit from taking my videos down to help you? What's in it for me? Therefore, it's not a contract, it's a gift. If I do it for you, it's out of the kindness of my own heart and out of consideration for your feelings. Yeah, sure, but me doing it is not legally binding. Number two, you cannot make someone enter into a contract that would otherwise be illegal. Meaning, for example, if you give somebody a contract, not a contract, a verbal agreement. Let's say I call my homegirl up and I'm like, "Hey, yo, girl, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to look up this girl on the internet, find out everything you can about her, and then I want you to report back to me whenever you have a chance, because I want to know everything that's going on with her. And I need you to do this for me within the next 30 days. And as a result of you doing that, I'm gonna give you $10,000-$15,000, right? I'm gonna ask you to commit an illegal act, right? Right? Unless you are a licensed federal professional, I'm going to hire you to commit crimes in order for my benefit. Now, if you didn't do it, if you didn't perform under that contract, right? Like, oh, girl, where's my information? You never sent it to me. I cannot hold you accountable for the performance of that contract because the contract itself is illegal and violates the law. Therefore, illegal contracts cannot be enforceable. Number three, a contract that you have with a platform, right? If you have a contract with YouTube, the terms and services of agreement we sign with YouTube is a binding contract. If we have a contract with YouTube that says I am allowed to legally use your content for derivative, for work, for aspects, for whatever, performative, I can use your content under a limited license under YouTube, then therefore I have a contract with YouTube the same way you do. And therefore your damages, any damages you think you might have, you have to take them up with YouTube because you have a contract with YouTube. You don't have a contract with me. You don't have a contract with me. You have a contract with YouTube, which is the platform that you willingly uploaded your content with and gave YouTube the right to reproduce your content as they see fit. You also gave YouTube the right to allow me to reproduce your content as I see fit. So unless you have an outside copyright agreement, legally binding agreement that supersedes the terms and conditions of YouTube, therefore it's legal for anybody to use it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's legal. Period. The next thing is when it comes to consideration, if only one person benefits from the contract, the contract is legally void. There's a frauds provision, the contract of frauds, which is saying that the contract cannot exist in perpetuity, right? And also, it has to benefit both sides. It has to benefit both sides. Any contract that exists over a year, meaning if I tell you to do something that's going to last more than a year, it cannot be a verbal contract. We actually have to have paper, like physical paper is a legally binding agreement, whatever. That's different. But verbally, no. Verbal contracts cannot exist in perpetuity. And also, verbal contracts do not supersede the terms and conditions of legal contracts that you sign with the platform you uploaded your content to. It just doesn't. We'd all like it to. We'd all like to, protect our peace and have boundaries and all that. But once you upload content to YouTube, you really forego that. Like, it's kind of, you got to read the terms. Like, you forego that right. And then, and you just got to do what it do. It is what it is. And if somebody makes an agreement with you on the phone, like, I'm gonna do ABC XYZ for you, and what is the exchange of goods? Like, I'm doing you a favor. How am I benefiting financially? Now, if somebody say, hey, if you take all your videos down by January 31st, let's say we talking in November. If by January 31st you remove all your videos, I will cut you a check for $1,500 as for you doing this for me. Okay, now we got a real agreement. But if it's like, oh, delete all your videos just for my benefit, and you're like, okay, sure, I'll delete my videos, then that's a favor. That's not an agreement. That's not legally enforceable because I didn't benefit from that contract. I'm actually going to lose revenue as a result of abiding by that contract. Therefore, it does not meet the consideration part of the contract. It just doesn't. Now, that's just that. So the contract is really with YouTube and not exactly. You have a contract with YouTube, meaning if YouTube breaches the agreement, let's just say YouTube, I don't know what YouTube could do because I'm pretty sure YouTube got one hell of a legal team. I don't know. You probably have to have a class action suit in order to bring claims against YouTube. You would need a class action status situation, I would imagine. That's my thought. But You could sue YouTube for like breach of contract if they stole your AdSense revenue. Like if you were looking at your analytics and you see that YouTube is taking more than their fair share of the pie, you could then say that they breached the terms of the agreement. Like you have a partnership with AdSense, Google AdSense. We're in agreement, Google AdSense. You breached the terms of our contract. You did not give me my revenue share, and therefore, like, I want my money. But an actual copyright claim, yes, whenever you publish something, there is a limited assumed copyright when you physically publish content, like a written work. However, in order to enforce that copyright, you have to file a copyright with the law. Like you have to file a trademark copyright with the state. I mean, look at Kylie Jenner. She's filed more than 175,000 copyrights. 175,000 or some absurd number. And she can't even copyright her own name, Kylie, because it's too common. Like, so certain things can't be copywritten, like things that are too common, the color blue, simple words, like you just can't. But you can copyright things, but you actually have to follow the legal procedures to do so. And then, yeah, it's copywritten for sure. So why isn't YouTube honoring their contract with the YouTuber? What do you mean? YouTube, I don't know what you mean, Varen. You got to give more detail. I don't know what you mean. So I would say that if you go to YouTube, if someone files a copyright strike or a copyright claim against your content, YouTube's knee-jerk reaction is to avoid a lawsuit. They have a right to mitigate their damages. So YouTube, whenever someone files a copyright claim, YouTube's immediate reaction is going to issue a copyright takedown notification. Why? Because YouTube has a legal right to mitigate their damages, which is what I talked about in the doctrine of mitigation, right? I posted it on my community tab. YouTube has to mitigate their damages. They don't want to be held legally liable for allowing copyrighted content to exist on their platform, where we're in situations where illegal copyright exists, because then YouTube can be sued. So you wouldn't be suing me, you'll be suing YouTube. Like, hey, YouTube, you're breaking the law because your terms and conditions says that you will not let somebody use my copywritten content, and here's my legal paperwork saying that I have a copyright agreement. Right? So YouTube takes down the content because they don't want to be sued, because you might have a real copyright. But that's why people do counter notifications. They cite the statute. They say, please ask the person who's copyright strike my content to provide information regarding their copyright. Like, show the paperwork. Prove that you illegally own this content, and prove that I'm violating the terms and conditions of this agreement, because, hey, YouTube, you gave me permission to use this content. And that's why people get counter notifications and they get their strikes taken off, right? But if you go ahead and try to sue somebody for copyright strikes, right, you go and say, okay, you breached the contract because me and you made an agreement saying that you wouldn't reproduce my content, and you are reproducing my content, or you didn't abide by our agreement. If I was going to court, I would tell the courts, well, I wasn't in violation of an agreement to begin with. There was no legal foundation for this person to tell me to take my content down to begin with. And actually, I'm the victim. And the person, like the person could actually take YouTube to court. Like, I'm the victim, but YouTube would then obviously say, obviously you didn't notify us that the copyright didn't exist. But that whatever. YouTube would defend themselves. So I'm not saying you're gonna have some claims against YouTube. But if it were me, I would go to court and I would print out the terms and conditions of the YouTube contract. This is the agreement I signed. This is the content I use. This is the format to which I use it. This person reached out to me and asked me to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And what they did to me was not wasn't illegal. That's what I talked about. You cannot have a contract when otherwise your contract is based on illegal grounds. It's automatically void. Once the judge be like, this is an illegal contract because this is illegal to begin with, the foundation of which is not enforceable. The whole thing is thrown out. It's thrown out. It's thrown out. I can't be great. My supervisor called the Zoom meeting. Oh, it's all right, Miss Lady Diva. I wasn't going to be on here long. I just honestly wanted to kind of give my opinion. Again, these are my opinions. I am not a lawyer. I'm not pretending to be a lawyer. These are my opinions. And this is just saying what I would do if I was having to go to court to defend myself. Because at the end of the day, I get it. Like, feelings have been hurt all around. Feelings have been hurt all around on the YouTube streets. Things have gone too far, probably on both sides of the equation. Like, things have gone way too far. I get it. I completely get it. Everybody wants to defend themselves, stand up for themselves. But at the end of the day, The same way you don't want to miss out on money because people are treating you unkindly. You shouldn't make somebody else miss out on money because of something. Like, if you don't want nobody playing with your money, don't play with nobody else's money. I think it goes both ways. But if you play with somebody's money, then they're gonna play with your money. So play in the sandbox you feel comfortable playing in, right? But then once you start filing court cases, putting people's name in the paper, going public and all of that stuff, you better be very careful and you better be very sure. And you better have the real coin. I mean, that long money to fight what you're trying to fight, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where it's like, poo. Because when people start, you know what I mean? Like, nobody who's educated and who has access to resources is going to go down without a fight. Nobody who's educated and has access to resources is going to go down without a fight. And that fight is going to look, it's going to be, it's, you know what I mean? You got to be careful. Like, you got to be careful the Pandora box you open. But if you feel you're well within your rights to do it. I'm not going to tell anybody not to do what they feel they're legally entitled to. Do what you got to do. Like, but just be sure you want to do that, because when the courts get involved, you know what I mean? Like, you got subpoenas, you want phone records, you want everything. They doing forensic accounting. They like, oh no, you're not about to put me in the news doing XYZ ABC. Now we about to go underneath the hood of this car. Right now, I want to see every time you logged into this platform. I'm subpoenaing this. I'm issuing court orders. I'm putting out, all kind of stuff. Nobody's gonna go down and have their name defamed without a fight. Over something that's opinion commentary on YouTube. Once you take it off YouTube, once you start calling people parents, once you start doxing people, once you start harassing, bullying, and all of that crazy stuff, once you start doing all of that, you have entered an entirely different realm of persecution and prosecution. It's different. That's why you got to play in the, you know what I'm saying? You got to be careful. And I'm a briefly dip into another topic that's relevant, but you got to be careful. There's a statute of law called RICO, right? It's racketeering, intimidation, coercion. There is a RICO case. You can catch federal RICO charges for engaging in some type of the behavior that people engage in. Bribery is a part of that. Conspiracy is a part of that. Creating platforms and exchanging money and doing things like that, it gets real dangerous. So be careful where you log in. Be careful where you fraternize. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you send money to. Be careful what you do. Be careful what you imply, because implied threats fall under RICO. Intimidation, that falls under RICO. These are federal charges. This is not a game. No one's playing. Like, you got to be careful. You don't know who's watching who, and you don't know what people are up to. You just got to play it safe. That's all I'm gonna say. You never know, and if you're not prepared to fight that fight, get out of the, you know what I'm saying? What they say, when they get too hot, get out the kitchen. Whatever, get out the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Or leave people alone and let bygones be bygones and everybody go their separate ways. And just, that's it. You could do that too. Hey, Tina Lachey, how are you? Good morning. Good morning, Dee Dee. Good morning, everybody. I wasn't going to be on here too long. I was just coming on, speaking my mind, and just want everybody, honestly, to just level up. I just feel like, there's so much to life. Like, oh my God, there's so much to life. I just wish everybody would just, like, I think people are so talented and have so much more to offer, and I don't want to see anybody end up in those situations or nobody. There ain't nothing good about that. Ain't nothing good about nobody getting hurt. It ain't nothing good about nobody getting doxxed. It ain't nothing good about nobody having their financial future destroyed. It ain't nothing good about any of it. But when you fight a fight, you better make sure your hands are goddamn squeaky clean. Because if you involve people in a fight that's of national scale, you better be squeaky mother effing clean. Squeaky clean. Because Somebody gonna lift the hood of that car and got, Lord willing, ain't nothing to find. Lord willing, ain't nothing to find. Lord willing, ain't nothing to find. Because once somebody finds something, and if you got the right people looking, all hell gonna break loose. All hell gonna break loose. Because there's countersuits as well. People countersue too. Like, you know what I mean? People countersue too. People countersue too. So my word of advice is, everybody got to do what they got to do for them. Everybody got to do what they got to do for them. Like, do what you got to do, but just make sure when you're doing it the right way, and your hands are squeaky clean, because the courts is not playing. The courts is not playing. They are not playing. They are coming, and they are looking. Okay, no one's going to jail. No one's losing their livelihood. No one's giving up everything that they work for over some opinion commentary. Nobody, and hurt feelings, right? Everybody gets their feelings hurt. Everybody has been spoken about poorly on the internet. Every single person has had lies told on them one way or the other. Every single person has had people looking for their family members. Every single person has had people posting inappropriate things, saying inappropriate, and this goes on both sides. Every single person. And when you mitigate your damages once you engage in the bullshit. If you want to win, the first thing your ass need to do is don't say shit. Don't say shit. Don't say shit. Don't do shit. Don't start no shit. Won't be no shit. Don't send nobody nothing. Don't engage in nothing. Don't do nothing. Once you retaliate, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah, the court is a whole different ballpark. Nobody ain't going to jail. Like, we all black people here. We all black people here. Now, once it gets to the point of somebody getting hurt, you pulling up at somebody's house, you know what I'm saying, somebody getting attacked, assaulted, beat up, terminated, unalived. Once it gets to that, that's a whole different ball game. But if it's just verbal accusations back and forth, then you know what I mean? People talk shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? Don't be calling nobody job, and don't be getting nobody fired, because once you start doing shit like that, people start coming for everything. Everything. What Cat Williams say? Everything. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody don't play the same way. And some people got long money. Some people got resources. Some people got real access. Some people can really tear your shit up and tie your shit up. You don't know who you're dealing with. You got to be careful. And that's on both sides. You never know what somebody plotting. So it is what it is. But, that's my word on it. That's my word. Yeah, I don't play. I don't play with my family. I don't play games like that. None of that shit is funny. Like, none of that shit is funny. I don't play. I do not involve myself. I know when to hold them and when to fucking fold them. Period. And I also am an empathetic person. And I can see when somebody is being hurt, somebody's truly in pain. I can also see when somebody's on some bullshit. But I also know who the fuck I'm dealing with. My superpower is being able to fucking read people. And I know how to fucking read people. Okay, I know exactly how far this person is willing to go, and I ain't willing to go that far because I ain't trying to go to fucking jail. I got a whole family to protect. So I'm going to get the fuck up over. I'm going to get the fuck from around. I'm out of here. Period. Everybody, you got to know who you dealing with and what people are capable of. And people underestimate people all the time. The person who you think is the least person you need to worry about be the most dangerous motherfucking person in the world. And pardon my French. You never know. So don't underestimate people. It is. I don't get involved in all this other stuff on YouTube. I try to tend to mind my business, but then people come in my inbox, they ask me questions and stuff like that. And if I feel up to it, I'll make a video. Like, people be curious. Like, hey, what do you think about this? But I tend to just choose to mind my business. I just want everybody to be safe in the situation, because that's honestly what's most important. That's most important. What we were saying, how you said a word today. Yeah, court is a whole different ballpark. But that was my word for the day. I don't have YouTube that's going completely left. I'm going to be honest. This particular YouTube is interesting. Hey Mink, good morning. this YouTube shit is done when left quick. People started to take it personal. Yeah, I think on both sides of the equation, things have gone crazy. On both sides. Both sides. Both sides. And I think, unless people are really prepared to spend the next 2 years of their life in court and only going to escalate the situation, you got to decide what's most important to you. I can't tell people what to do. I can't tell people what to do. People going to do what they want to do. But, to me, it's just like, at what point does everybody say this shit is going way too far and let's just move on? At what point does it like, oh no, it's going too far and now I'm gonna fight to the death? Like, but when you fighting to the death, you got to be prepared to fight to the death, and that's even more stress, way more stress. It's only going to get worse. The internet is crazy. It really is. Like, it's just too much. Blessings for the info. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Verena. Yes, I agree. All right, guys, that was my word for the day. I wasn't going to be on here talking for too long. I got business to take care of. But I appreciate everybody who joined the live and sharing their opinion. I hope any of you found it helpful. And I will talk to you guys later, unless anybody has any other questions. Definitely, you said some really high key points today. It's time to get back to creating some really good content. Absolutely. I think everybody has talent, has talents. Everybody. Like, you could, everybody has something to bring to this platform. But people gonna move at their own pace. People gonna move at their own pace. But yes, thank you guys. All right, have a great day, guys. Talk to you next time. Bye.